The first skill any shooter needs to master is your ability to pull the trigger at speed without disrupting the sights. This is a byproduct of me being able to grip the pistol consistently. My hands are in the same place every time. Stability, when I set pressures on the gun, I'm not changing those pressures throughout the shooting process. And durability, on longer strings of fire, is my grip as good on the last shot as it was before the first shot. This is how every drill, exercise, or engagement starts. The way that we're gonna do this in dry fire, for me, I pick a small spot on the target that I wanna hit. On the buzzer, I'm gonna press the trigger as quickly as I can, paying attention, does the sight move when I press the trigger? I'm taking the slack out of the trigger safety, but I'm not pulling any slack out of the trigger. It's a full, complete press at speed. What I'm assessing is my grip consistent, stable, and durable. What we see a lot of times with newer shooters is the firing hand tension builds, and we'll see that gun dip when they pull the trigger, right? For me, that's not an anticipation. It's me pulling the trigger with my entire hand. I need to have my firing hand anchored on the gun where I can pull the trigger very, very quickly without these 3 fingers moving. Whatever pressure I'm doing with my firing hand, my non-firing hand just doing a little bit more. More time. I'm trying to press the trigger like I would initiating on a Bills drill. I'm pulling the trigger really hard and I'm assessing, is that dot moving? We'll get Jeff to get his pistol out here. It's unloaded, so we'll press the trigger. We don't need a target. We'll just have the gun back there on the berm. Starting point is gonna be touching the trigger. Take the trigger safety out, and on the beep, it's an aggressive trigger pull, assessing what happens with the sight. Stand by. All right, reset. And we see a little bit of what I think classically would be called anticipation. To me, that's a violation of the principle of stability, and it's your firing hand tensing while you're shooting. So think of the grip pressures I want. My firing hand can be a little bit tense on the gun. Whatever I'm doing in terms of pressure with the firing hand, my non-firing hand has to do a little bit more. Stand by. All right. We still see that pushing down into the gun. We want to calm all of that stuff down. Stand by. That was a little better. Think of in terms of just stable pressure. Once I set that pressure before the drill on standby, don't change it throughout the shooting process. To build on that, I'll start with my finger forward against the trigger guard, and I'm gonna run at the trigger very, very hard. It's not that I would pull the trigger like this in a match or any type of shooting situation. It's that now I'm just stressing and pressure testing my grip even more. Can I hold the gun steady with a little bit more aggressive trigger pull? Paying attention, the sight is telling me what's happening with my grip. For me, there's a little tiny wobble, and I'll work now to get that out. If you pay attention to the end of the gun, I want no movement in the end of the gun when I press the trigger. It's still a matter of when this finger is moving really, really quickly, these 3 cannot be involved. I think upward movement, you're applying pressure with the palm of your hand. You're pushing down into the gun, so I want my wrist to be fixed. Good, consistent, stable pressure in the hands. Stand by. That one was a good one. One more. Stand by. So one of the big components of dry fire, right, is being very process focused. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes, and then understanding the right cues to apply to fix those mistakes. With this one skill, if you concentrate 4 or 5 minutes on this, we're talking hundreds of reps of trigger presses that you can get where you start to refine that grip. And that's the most basic skill that we carry into any drill, any exercise, a stage. We have to be able to hold the gun steady and not disrupt the sights when we're pulling the trigger very, very aggressively.